Well, hello and welcome back to my channel. So, today's video, we're going to go over men who are so self-entitled that they invade spaces not meant for them. But anyway, let's get into the article. Droves of men took over this woman's tech fair. Because it's not like men don't have their own tech fairs, which are just generally tech fairs. I mean, how self-entitled do you have to be that it's not enough to have your own tech fairs? You have to invade other people's. The people who generally have a problem getting a leg up. So, safe space? Yeah, let's just invade that. But anyway, let's find out what happened. An event meant to be a career builder for women and non-binary tech workers. Okay, that's starting to get a little smarmy. Anyway, turned into yet another symbol of the industry's gender imbalance after self-identifying men showed up in droves. Now, the reason I say this is smarmy is you can identify as non-binary but still look, say, like a man or look like a woman. It doesn't necessarily mean androgynous. That is what I'm hearing from non-binary people. You don't necessarily have to look androgynous. So, yeah, once you go into the self-identifying as one gender, or in this case, no gender, yeah, that gets a little iffy. How do you know that these are self-identifying men? I'm sure they made it obvious, but so far we have no idea. Oh, come on. The Grace Hopper celebration takes the name of a pioneering computer scientist and bills itself as the world's largest annual gathering of women and non-binary tech workers. Tickets for the 4-day event, which took place in Orlando, Florida last week, oh, that explains everything, ranged in price from $649 to $1,298 and included a coveted chance to meet one-on-one with sponsors such as Apple, Amazon, Salesforce, and Google. All right, so you need to be rich just to get a chance to get a job and get rich. That makes total sense. Okay. With some 30,000 annual attendees, that career expo was already a competitive space, according to past participants. But this year, access was even more limited by what the organizers described as an increase in participation of self-identifying males. Wait, an increase? So what you're saying is that self-identifying men have always been self-entitled dickweeds and have been coming to this fair. Cool. Videos posted to social media showed scenes of men flocking around recruiters, running into event venues, and cutting in front of women to get an interview slot. Well, so much for chivalry. What the fuck, guys? Seriously. I mean, these men probably also think that they're inherently better than women. So why cut in front of them? I mean, in your narrow, sexist little mind, you probably would get the job anyway, so I do not see why you have to cut in front of them. Footage showed a sea of people, hundreds deep, waiting in line for a chance to enter the Career Expo. As one poster put it, the Kens had taken over Barbie Land. Several conference goers told NPR there was a 40 to 60 ratio of men to women, especially at the Career Expo. Okay, well, I guess that means that women still outnumbered men, so at least something. But again, what the hell, guys? From what I'd heard, I was expecting maybe 0.5% to 1% of the attendees would be male, said Morgan Young, a computer science student at the University of Nevada, Reno, who also creates content for early career tech workers on social media. Well, she did say male, not men, so, okay. I heard it was like the Coachella of tech for women. It's supposed to be fun and collaborative, she told NPR in an interview this week. But the vibe was so different. You could feel the cutthroatness in the air. Oh, good. So not only are they self-entitled dickweeds, but they're also serious buzzkills. Alrighty then. Some of the attendees had lied about their gender identity on their conference registrations, said Cullen White, the Chief Impact Officer with AnitaB.org, the nonprofit that organizes the conference. Some? I'm sorry, I thought this was supposed to be for women and non-binary. So if we have 40% of the conference goers being men, self-identifying men, I wouldn't use the word some here. Nope, I would use the word all. All right. Judging by the stacks and stacks of resumes you're passing out, you did so because you thought you could come here and take up space to try and get jobs, White said during the conference's plenary address. So let me be perfectly clear. Stop right now. Stop. Bo Young Lee, AnitaB.org's president, said in a video post that the shift in demographics had robbed the conference of the joyous and supportive atmosphere that had previously helped women grow. Okay, again, how are these men infiltrating this conference? If they self-identify as men, then it should be obvious upon sight. So how in the world were they let in? Give them a damn refund and tell them to get lost. Seriously, what is wrong here? It seems like things went bad from the very beginning. We tried to create a safe space, and this week we saw the outside world creep in, she said. I can't guarantee you that we'll have solutions tomorrow, but I can promise you that we'll be working on solutions, and we won't do it in a bubble. Earlier in the week, the organization addressed calls to ban men from the conference by saying that male allyship is necessary to work toward overall inclusivity, and also that federal law prohibited discrimination based on gender. NPR reached out to AnitaB.org for additional comment, but had not received a response by the time this article was published. Some of the attendees said they felt like the organizers had prioritized profit over people, registering more attendees than they had the capacity to handle, then subject women and non-binary workers to a familiar feeling of needing to compete with men. You're basically paying hundreds to do the same thing that you're experiencing in the industry, trying desperately to get your resume everywhere, said Agnes Liu, a master's student in computer science at Northeastern University. I feel like we were tricked. You know, I can't blame them when you bill a conference as supposed to be for women and non-binary, and suddenly you see all these self-identifying men because they think that they're, like I entitled to go wherever they damn well please because they're dicks. First off, how is it that you're even allowing them? I mean, I get that there's a discrimination. There's laws against discrimination based on gender. But if that were the case, you wouldn't have been able to put out this type of event to begin with. So I just don't understand how all these men were able to buck the system. Anyway, tech jobs were once a safe bet for workers looking for stable, lucrative careers. But an industry-wide wave of layoffs earlier this year left hundreds of thousands of workers suddenly without a job. And I feel for those people, but again, you have your own tech conferences, you have your own career expos. You do not have to infiltrate spaces that weren't meant for you, because that is your privilege. You do not have to force your way into spaces that aren't meant for you, because there are plenty of spaces that are meant for you. Women were disproportionately affected by those cuts, making up to 69.2% of all tech layoffs, according to the Women Tech Network. And that's on top of the industry's ongoing gender imbalance. Women hold just 26% of jobs across all STEM occupations, and even less, 24% in computer fields, according to the latest available data from the U.S. Department of Labor. Okay, so let me get this straight. Not only are these dickweeds infiltrating spaces not meant for them, they're doing it despite the fact that they aren't the victims. Women are the ones who lost most of the jobs, and they already weren't a big force in tech to begin with. And so now these guys are trying to make them even less capable of getting into the field. Jesus Christ, what is wrong with you? You already have an advantage over women. Why are you doing this? Why are you forcing yourself into places you do not belong? I'm starting to think that tech bros in general are dickweeds. The pressure is even higher for the industry's international workers, who are at risk of losing their visa if they fail to find employment quickly. Now, if most of those men were international workers, I would actually give that a pass, because you're desperate. Okay, fine. But men in general, fuck you. We're set with a timer of like 90 days, says Anusha Das, an international graduate student studying information systems at Northeastern. There's competition. The job market is bad. There's no grace for us, really. Das said she missed most of the other workshops and panels at the conference just to stand in hour-long lines to secure a 2-minute interview with recruiters. In one of those lines, she said she heard a group of men casually using misogynistic slurs in her native language, Hindi. In another, she watched a group of men splinter off to make a new line, effectively cutting the other people who'd been waiting patiently. Like I said, dickweeds. Now, I get that, you're time constrained because you're international and you need to keep your visa up. But again, men have conferences and tech expos everywhere. There's very few that are targeting women. You do not have to go after the one targeting women. It's really not that difficult. I'm sure there are tech expos going on all the time. You will find one. It is fine. But she said she also didn't regret those long waits. In fact, they made for some of the best experiences at the conference. I would talk to the other girls while I was waiting in line, and they were hyping me up, telling me not to be nervous, she said. The best things about the conference were the stuff that's not actually advertised. Exactly, because unlike these dickweed men, women generally are about hyping each other up and helping each other out, and you know, made it used to be may the best man win. Now it's basically may the best woman win, and the men are like, yeah, fuck off. We're going to do whatever ever it takes, whatever underhanded thing we have to do to win. So yeah, the women seem to be like they're the ones who are classy and put together, and the men look like dickweeds. Seriously, again, there are tech conferences for you guys all the time. There isn't that many that are targeted just for women. I really hope these recruiters saw all these men and said, yeah, okay, after you leave, we're tossing this in the trash, because if you are that desperate to get a job that you will undercut the whole purpose of a conference and of this career expo, then you aren't the kind of employee we want, because we don't want employees who are cutthroat. We want employees who, follow the rules, like this is not for you. I really hope that no man gets a job from this expo. I mean, you want a job in that field? Go through the proper channels. These are the same men who I bet would scream that when people don't go through the proper channels when it affects them. But now, oh no, we need a job, and somehow our job is more important than a woman's job because of the misogynistic comments. So I'm going to say that, yeah, they're self-entitled. They think that just because they have a penis between their legs, that somehow that makes them special, so that they can just walk all over women. No. And like I said, I really hope none of those men found jobs. And if some of them ended up getting their asses kicked back to whatever country they came from because they couldn't get a visa, well, that's too fucking bad. Because maybe you should have followed the damn rules. Anyway. That is all for this article. So with that, I will see you guys in the next video.